The only inhabitants in the island were an old man Prospero and his daughter, Miranda. They lived in a cave made out of rocks. Miranda was a beautiful young lady, that she had no memory of having seen any other human face, except of her father's. The cave was divided into several apartments, of one in which Prospero kept his books, which is chiefly tested of magic. By virtue of his art, he had released many good spirits. These good spirits were imprisoned in the bodies of large tree by a witch, called Sycorax. These gentle spirits were ever after obedient to the will of Prospero. Of these Ariel was the chief. Ariel took too much pleasure in tormenting an ugly monster called Caliban, because he was the son of his old enemy Sycorax. Caliban was employed like a slave, to fetch wood, and do the most laborious offices. With the help of these spirits, Prospero could command the winds, and the waves of the sea. By his orders they raised a violent storm. In the midst of which, he showed his daughter a fine large ship, which he told her was full of living beings like themselves.
Oh my dear father, if by your art you have raised this dreadful storm, have pity on their sad distress. See, the vessel will be dashed to pieces. Poor souls, they will all perish.
There is no harm done. I have so ordered it, that no person in the ship shall receive any hurt. What I have done has been in care of you. My dear child, you were ignorant. 12 years ago, Miranda, I was Duke of Milan, and you were a princess, and my only heir.
I had a younger brother, whose name was Antonio, to whom I trusted everything. With the aid of King of Naples, powerful prince, who was my enemy.
Did they not that hour destroy us?
My child, they dared not. Antonio carried us on board a ship, and when we were some leagues out at sea, he forced us into a small boat, without either tackle, sail, or mast. But a kind lord of my court, one Gonzalo, who loved me, had privately placed in the boat water, provisions, apparel, and some books which I prize above my dukedom.
Oh my father, what a trouble must I have been to you then.
No, my love, you were a little angel, that did preserve me. Your innocent smiles made me bear up against my misfortunes. Our food lasted till we landed on this desert island. We started our new life here.
Now tell me, father, your reason for raising this sea storm.
That by means of this storm, my enemies, the King of Naples, and my cruel brother, are cast ashore upon this island.
Prospero with his magic wand, fell her fast asleep, for the spirit Ariel, just presented himself before his master.
Well, my brave spirit, how have you performed your task?
Ariel gave the lively description of the storm.
The king's son, Ferdinand, was the first leaped into the sea. His father thought he saw his dear son swallowed up by the waves and lost. But he is safe in a corner of the isle, sadly lamenting the loss of the king, his father.
Bring him here, my daughter must see this young prince. Where is the king and my brother?
Oh, my young gentleman, I will soon move you, for the Lady Miranda, to have a sight of your pretty person. Come, sir, follow me.
Miranda, Tell me what you are looking at yonder.
Is it not a spirit?
No, it eats, and sleeps, and has senses such as we have. He has lost his companions, and is wandering about to find them.
Ferdinand began to address her that Miranda was the goddess of this enchanted island. When Miranda gave an account of herself, Prospero interrupted her. He was well pleased to find they admired each other, but to try Ferdinand's constancy, he resolved to throw some difficulties in their way.
I will tie your neck and feet together. You shall drink sea water, shellfish, withered roots, and husks of acorns shall be your food.
Ferdinand drew his sword.
I will resist this.
Prospero, waving his magic wand, fixed him to the spot where he stood. Miranda hung upon her father, saying,
Why are you so ungentle? And to me he seems a true one.
To prove her constancy, Prospero said,
Silence. One word more will make me chide you. What an advocate for an impostor.
Prospero to the prince.
You have no power to disobey me.
Prospero had commanded Ferdinand to pile up some heavy logs of wood.
Alas, do not work so hard. My father is at his studies for these 3 hours. Pray rest yourself.
Oh my dear lady, I dare not. I must finish my task before I take my rest.
If you will sit down, I will carry your logs the while.
Prospero, but was standing by them invisible, to overhear what they said. Ferdinand, in a fine long speech, told the innocent Miranda he was heir to the crown of Naples, and that she should be his queen. Prospero then appeared before them.
All your vexations were but trials of your love, and you have nobly stood the test. As my gift, take my daughter.
Prospero called his spirit Ariel, who appeared before and explained the strange things he had caused them, when fatigued with wandering about, and famished for want of food. He had suddenly set before them a delicious banquet. Just they were going to eat, he appeared before them in the shape of a harpy, voracious monster with wings, and the feast vanished away, reminding them of their cruelty in driving Prospero from his dukedom, and leaving him and his infant daughter to perish in the sea, and that for this cause, these terrors were suffered, to afflict them. The king of Naples, and Antonio, the false brother, repented the injustice they had done to Prospero.
Then bring him here, Ariel,
said Prospero. Grief and terror had so stupefied their senses, that they did not know Prospero. He first discovered himself to the good old Gonzalo, calling him the preserver of his life. Antonio, with tears, sad words of sorrow and true repentance, implored his brother's forgiveness, and Prospero forgave them. Prospero said to the king of Naples,
I have a gift in store for you too.
Opening a door, showed him his son Ferdinand, playing chess with Miranda. Nothing could exceed the joy of the father and the son, at this unexpected meeting, for they each thought the other drowned in the storm.
Who is this maid?
She is the daughter to this Prospero, who is the famous Duke of Milan. Of him, I have received a new life. He has made himself to me a second father, giving me this dear lady.
Prospero told,
Let us not remember our troubles past, since they so happily have ended.
Prospero told them that their ship was safe in the harbor, and that he and his daughter would accompany them home. The next morning, before Prospero left the island, he dismissed Ariel from his service, to the great joy of that lively little spirit. Prospero discarded his magical things and left the island.